What's going on YouTube? MotoFox here. I figured I'd do another video just talking a little bit about Speedo and oil temp sense. Battery. Yeah, battery was the last thing. So let's start with Speedo. So Speedo on the stock XT350 obviously runs off the front wheel. I switched to YZ250 front wheel tire rim. And that does not have Speedo gears. So what I ended up doing was using this. You've definitely seen it in my videos many times, but this like heads-up display Speedo. I just mounted it to my, it's loose right now because I kind of broke it, but I'll have to fix it for next year. It mounts to the front fairing, I guess. And it comes with like a special film that you put against whatever windshield you're using. You got to use some type of windshield with this. And it projects it onto that. That little coating just helps reflect that wavelength of light better. It's green, and makes it pretty clear. I really like this. It uses GPS, so there's nothing other than power, and it's just powered by like 5-volt USB. The connector's on the other side here, but it's a mini USB, so you just need any mini USB cable, and then it just gets GPS signal. I've had no issues with the actual signal itself, even in like woods and forests and stuff like that. Still seems to work. Doesn't seem to drain a lot of battery. Seems to be relatively waterproof because I've got it wet multiple times. There's a little bit of delay, obviously, because it's going to get the GPS signal and then convert that into a speed and then push it to the display. So there's probably a few milliseconds of delay, but not a significant amount, because the real reason why most people, like, we have to ride with Speedos because it's a legal thing. And most of the time it's just so that when we're on the road, we know as we're going by cops if we're speeding or not. So I like this setup because it gets rid of all that linkage, all that cable, that front pinion, that front gear complexity, all that's gone. And I power this through just like a USB brick. I actually use that USB brick for both my GPS Speedo here, as well as like my phone, which is on like my handlebars. There's my phone mount actually, which I really like this mount. It's like all metal. It's gonna be hard to do with no hands, but yeah, it's all metal. You just unscrew it and clamp the phone in. This version I really like. It holds it really well. Anyway, so for my phone and for the GPS, I use like a battery brick, and I don't actually power those two things off of the bike itself. I don't know, I like that just because I can always make sure that I bring new battery packs with me, and if anything goes wrong with the bike, I can still charge my phone and still use those features. So it's pretty easy to hide a small battery brick on your bike somewhere. I put it under the covers, and I just run USB cables from that to both devices on my handlebars. Where the Speedo used to be, obviously, which would have been over here, I've replaced that with like an oil temperature sensor. So I kind of 3D printed this bracket that kind of fit in the same. I didn't really grab the shape exactly, but close enough, because I didn't want it to just be nothing there on the dash, and I didn't want to have to cut this or anything or try to separate the two, because I still wanted to leave the tack, obviously, because the tack runs off the cable off the engine here, so that doesn't have to be messed with. And then what I do for the oil sensor, you can see it's powered right now because it actually just uses like a watch battery, and it lasts pretty long. Like I put a new battery in every year because it's getting a little dull now, or dim, but it's not bad. But yeah, this is the probe for it. You can see as I hold the probe, the temperature will keep climbing, obviously, because I'm warmer than room temperature. But what I usually do is I clamp this probe up against the oil return here. I think this is the return. This might be the injection. Anyways, it's probably the return. I clamp it right here, and then as I ride, at least it's kind of nice to see what my oil temperature is. I like that only because if I start riding really, really tight sections of trail, I can kind of watch my oil temp raise, and I know if I'm getting too hot and it's too tight, and then I can kind of cut back out to a wider trail, run a little faster for a little bit, watch the temperatures go down, know that I'm cooling it a bit, and then go back into tighter trails. I've always liked having some kind of oil temp sensors on the bikes. This one's kind of nice too, because once it hits, I think 100 Celsius, it starts to beep. I don't like to run any higher than that anyways, 212 Fahrenheit. So sometimes it does, but that's okay. It just warns me to try to find bigger areas to cool the bike off with, areas that I can go faster. Another thing that I'm going to replace too is this front headlight. It is a little heavy. It's not as heavy as I thought, actually, once I took it out of the frame that it sits in. But it pulls a lot of amps. It pulls a lot of watts for like, because this is obviously 80s tech, right? So I'm going to go to like an LED front headlight, which will just give me some overcapacity for the charging system on the bike. I haven't figured out exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to source a light that's the exact same dimensions and then just make mounts that will work with the original setup, because I don't want to lose the original front fairing. So I'm just going to look for a LED light that's for off-road that's like of this similar size. The only thing I guess I could talk about too is, you know, on the gas tanks, how they're those air vents or hood air scoops, I guess they call them. That's my new tank, by the way. I actually probably should show you guys this. This is the Clark tank. And there's usually, let me get some shit out of there. There's usually those scoops. There's usually those scoops right here on either side that direct air over the fins of the head. I don't have those, and they're crazy expensive when you find them secondhand, which is not surprising because those things probably get smashed all the time. And so I'm trying to figure out a new solution for how to keep the engine a little cooler, because I don't have those scoops, so there's not as much air going over the head as I'd want to. I did buy, I got a new clutch kit I'm gonna put in eventually for next year. I did buy 2 of these. So these are like radiator fans. I think they're for like a power steering rad or a tranny rad or something off a car. They're pretty small. They're 12 volt. They're not huge amperage or huge wattage. And I was thinking of mounting those basically where the scoops would usually be, somewhere like this. I'll put another one on the other side. I have another one in that box over there, and I'll wire these back to the bike. My hope is that these can replace the hood scoops or the tank scoops, and also provide better cooling, because obviously these can keep running even when I'm going really slowly, whereas like the scoops obviously don't push as much air through when you're not going quick. So I'm hoping I can keep my engine cool, pretty cool, even in the middle of summer with these. And my plan is not to have those running all the time. So my plan is to use, I have this switch, which was just left over from another project, that I'm gonna mount to the handlebars. And it's illuminated, which is kind of nice, so that I'll know when I turn them on and when I turn them off. And I'll just kind of keep an eye on the temp. If it's a really cool day, or you know, if the engine's not really hot at that point, I can always switch it off, and then I can turn it on as I need it, if I know I'm going into tight trails. I got my air filters. I'm surprised I haven't mentioned that yet. Got my air filters. They seem to fit really well. They're tight, but they got on there no problem. And I can spin them too, right? So I can kind of work them away from each other if I want to rotate them down a bit. I'd rather obviously have them pointed up a bit just for water intakes. I don't want to pull water into the engine, but they're gonna have to cross the shock, or clear the shock. So the shock's gonna end up going kind of right between them here. So I might have to turn a little bit more. I'm hoping they'll clear the shock. It's hard to say. This is where it mounts to the frame, and the YZ250 shock, I have to actually extend the upper shock tower out back a bit, because the YZ250 shock is a little further back on the upper mount. So I'm hoping that will help my situation, because I'm pushing the head of the shock this way, which will help give me a little more clearance as opposed to when it's like that with the stock one. So my YZ250 rear shock conversion is actually going to help me in the sense that it will give me a little more clearance for my filters. I like these filters. I went with blue just because, you know, Yamaha blue. And that's it for me. But I do have one more thing to mention. I am pretty happy with this tank, by the way. It's pretty well built. It's super light, which is awesome. And like having a plastic tank on a bike like this is amazing. The finish is not perfect. You'll see right there that, I mean, I'm gonna have to clean this up myself because I don't like it, but I mean, not bad. They're the only ones that make them, so it's not like you can complain, to be honest, but it kind of is what it is when you're the only ones that do it. One thing I wanted to mention is I have these XT stickers, and I'm going to do a giveaway on this video. So how this giveaway is going to work is just type the word giveaway in comments below, and make sure you sub to my channel, because I'm going to wait 7 days from after posting this video. I'm going to raffle off these 2 XT350 decals. I was gonna put these on my bike when I originally got them, but I'm not doing the red anymore. So these actually never went on anything, and I figured if they're a good giveaway, I'll pay for all the shipping to whoever wins the giveaway. Just again, be sub to my channel and comment giveaway, and then in the comments below, and then I'll just take everyone's name, put them into a random giveaway picker generator, whatever. Do a comment on the video to let everyone know who won, and we'll go from there. They're pretty decent decals. I think they're meant for side covers. They're the original decals for the bike, like replacement original decals. So pretty cool. So that'll be the giveaway coming up. So thanks for watching. Sub to the channel, and we'll see you next time.